On September 7th, 2014, 3 students, that's us, studying international development, entered South America with a question. Can environmentalism and global development coexist? We had studied the theories of predominant development thinkers, like Jeffrey Sachs, who argue that to develop a country means to bring it to a place of economic prosperity. This, in turn, leads to a level of material consumption that resembles almost exactly the West. At the same time, we also studied environmentalists, like Dr. Rajendra Pachauri, who claim that the Western way of life can't be sustained. Their studies reveal that the Earth's resources are simply being depleted faster than they can be renewed. How, then, can humanity develop economically and socially without degrading the environment upon which we as humans depend? With these questions in mind, we spoke to experts, asked locals, questioned our own lifestyles, and began to contemplate a new definition of global development. Now enter 24 de Mayo, an agricultural community comprised of only 100 families, 4 hours outside the capital of Ecuador. In 24 de Mayo, people wash clothes by hand and let the sun do the work from there. They take showers with buckets instead of hot faucets. They grow their own food and raise their own livestock. They walk nearly everywhere, and when they do use transportation, they manage to fit 22 people and a basket of chickens in the back of a pickup truck. They generate almost no trash, because the paper and plastic from what little they do buy is reused to make everything from picture frames to chicken coops. It's no surprise then that the community members there are living a life that is undoubtedly sustainable. They use the resources they have to provide for their needs without jeopardizing resources needed for future generations. While the sustainability of their lifestyle was evident, we wanted some cold, hard facts, so we turned to a global ecological footprint calculator to see just how environmentally friendly our new neighbors were. The World Wildlife Fund's online test determines the amount of natural resources needed to support a given lifestyle. Then, the environmental footprint is expressed in terms of the number of Earths that would be required if everyone maintained this lifestyle. When we tested for our lives in the US, 3.3 Earths were required. For our lives in 24 de Mayo, only 0.9 Earths were needed. While this disparity is staggering, what's worrisome is that community interviews revealed that our small, sustainable 24 de Mayo is headed in the same direction as the US, in terms of consuming more resources than our Earth can afford. Augusto Ajusto is a high school math teacher from the town. While he said that protecting the environment is important to him, he sees no problem with increased material consumption. In fact, when asked about the American culture of consumerism, he asserted that buying more and more is positive, as long as money is available. Evelyn Urbano is a 22-year-old mother. When we told her that people in the United States replace cell phones on average every 18 months, she initially reacted with disapproval, but then conceded that people in 24 de Mayo would do the same if they had the financial capacity. When asked when they would replace their material possessions, such as phones, televisions, and refrigerators, in general, older interviewees stated that they would wait until the object broke to replace it, while younger generations affirmed that they were more inclined to replace their technology with newer models as soon as they had the money. In conducting these interviews, we learned that the people of 24 de Mayo, particularly the younger generations, are starting to adopt our Western mentality of wanting to consume an excess of resources in the form of material goods. It appears that consuming in excess is becoming a social norm in Ecuador, as it is in the US. As the difference between their minimal resource use and their desire for more material consumption seems to indicate, the only thing allowing 24 de Mayo to maintain its low environmental impact is a lack of money. While you mull over that, we'll take a bus, 3 plane rides, a quick jaunt to Machu Picchu, and several pictures with llamas. Done mulling? Good, because our next stop is Cochabamba, Bolivia. Despite the fact that Bolivia is one of the 50 poorest countries in the world, Cochabamba, the fourth largest city in the country, is home to a prominent upper middle class. It wasn't uncommon for us to find large houses, with multiple televisions, cell phones, cars, and computers. Interviews with Cochabambinos revealed a mindset and standard of living far more similar to our own lives in the US and Germany than our experiences in rural 24 de Mayo. The ecological footprint calculator revealed that our lifestyle here would require 1.9 Earths to sustain. Members of older generations reflected on how Cochabamba's material consumption and technology use have increased dramatically within the past few decades, in large part because of Western influence. They also reported noticing for the first time the effects of climate change in their own city, in the form of hotter summers and colder winters. Giovanna Kosiv, a pharmacist, explained to us that these days, all of the youth want the newest technology. And she attributed this trend to American television channels that are now available in Bolivia. Paula Sandy Castellon, a businesswoman, added that over the past 30 years, a byproduct of immigration to the US has been an influx of modern technology in Bolivia, which thus has led to a greater demand for American goods. Franz Terreo, a teacher and artist, took this theory a step further, asserting that it is globalization that has caused this mindset shift among Cochabambinos. We were beginning to grasp the pervasiveness of Western ideals in a country modernizing in accords with current patterns of global development. The obvious next step was to look more closely at these Western ideas. At this point, let's rewind a little. We're still talking about environmentalism and global development. Development theorists like Jeffrey Sachs assert that more technology use and resource consumption are key to elevating one's quality of life. To a certain extent, we agree. Technology in developing countries is critical to education, public health, and economic progress. On the other hand, our ecological footprints proved that if developing countries do achieve the level of consumption of goods, technology, and resources they currently strive towards, the environmental consequences will be catastrophic. So now what? Since it would be unreasonable to tell our families in 24 de Mayo that they shouldn't buy a computer, replace their cell phones, or travel by car, we began to search for a solution that we could enact within our own lives. Disclaimer: there's no need for alarm. We are not about to ask you to throw away your computer, never flush your toilet again, or start raising your own farm-fresh, cage-free, grass-fed, non-GMO chickens in your backyard. Nor will we remind you to, yet again, turn off the lights when you leave a room. What we are suggesting is a simple change in mindset. In the international community today, global development is understood as the advancement towards a greater quality of life for humans. Based on criteria from the Human Development Index, we will define quality of life as high life expectancy, access to education, and income sufficient to provide for one's needs. The United States has, by all accounts, achieved this high quality of life. But now, we have far surpassed this, reaching a point of excess that is unsustainable. Remember those 3.3 Earths? We've seen how developing countries in the early stages of development begin with a highly sustainable lifestyle. As they move along the development track, however, sustainability drops. We would like to see something where the end goal of development includes sustainability, which means that the West still has some developing to do. Our hope is that by redefining what it means to be a developed country, the development track will become a sustainable one. We are not United Nations policymakers or World Bank executives, but our new definition of development goes something like this. Development in the West should maintain and improve upon current quality of life in a manner that would allow everyone in the world to achieve that same quality of life, without exceeding the Earth's finite resources. We already know not to leave the water running when brushing our teeth. We've been taught to turn off the lights when we leave the room, and the importance of recycling has been hammered into us. But now, we have surpassed the point where these small actions are sufficient to create the change that we need. What we need now are lifestyle shifts. This sounds daunting, but it's not as difficult as it seems. A grant writer at the Foundation for Sustainable Development told us that changing our lifestyle does not need to involve focusing on every issue at once. She believes that the best way to start is to find something you enjoy and commit to it, whether that means starting your own vegetable garden or making the choice to bike to work each day. It doesn't matter where you begin, because we hope that one change will lead to another, until eventually living sustainably becomes second nature. The good news is that whatever you choose to do can even improve your quality of life. Alex Bustamante, the national director for the nonprofit Sustainable Bolivia, finds that the challenge and personal reward that comes with trying to change his lifestyle for the better actually make him happier. It took us 3 countries, 92 days, and a lot of self-evaluation to arrive at this point. We entered South America with questions, and we still don't know all the answers. What we do know is that we can enact change by making conscious choices in our everyday lives. We commit to this, and hopefully we have convinced you to do the same.